Greetings, beautiful earthlings. My name is Star. If you are new here, I don't know how you found me, but I am super grateful to have you. And if you are returning, y'all the real MVP, you already know. So today, my friends, I wanted to talk about something I've had sitting in the queue for a very long time. I know that's the common theme with the past like 4 videos I just filmed. I'm kind of trying to plow through as many as I can right now while the baby's asleep. But anyways, there is a question I got, I want to say on my Goetia Tarot review, which was basically, why can't I use this deck as my first deck? I do not remember the exact comment because this was quite a while ago, so if I can find it, I'll pop it in here. But to the best of my knowledge, what I remember of the question was basically, why can't I use this as my first deck? I love it and I want it to be my first deck. I love that question, and I just never got around to it because, you know, I've done so many videos like this and it just seems redundant after a while, but I do realize I've got quite a catalog of videos and not everybody wants to go all the way back 2-3 years in my channel to find the answer to their questions. So we're going to use my Goetia Tarot as the example here for this one because it's the video that comment was left on. So I want to talk about why some tarot decks are not fit for beginners, why every tarot reader or tarot reviewer will say that a certain deck is beginner friendly versus intermediate versus master level, right? And as far as the tier goes of ease of readability, I would say it's hard for me between the Namaste Tarot and the Rider-Waite-Smith Tarot as far as beginner level goes. I will always put the Thoth at the top, master level reader, okay? And the reason that I say that is because the Thoth is such an intricate system of reading in and of itself that you do have to also dedicate years to reading that one. So as if you did not dedicate years to learning the Rider-Waite-Smith first, now you gotta unlearn everything you know and relearn everything as far as the Thoth goes. So I have told people before, please don't start with the Thoth Tarot. If that's your first ever tarot deck, if someone recommended that to you, please don't start with the Thoth Tarot. It will help you out greatly to learn first on the Rider-Waite-Smith Tarot because all New Age decks, for the most part, are based off of the Rider-Waite-Smith Tarot. Then you can start to piece together your knowledge of the tarot and relearn the Thoth, right? So the reason that some tarot decks are not beginner friendly is solely because the imagery is not easily readable, which means it does not fall in line with some kind of reading system such as the Rider-Waite-Smith, the Marcy Tarot, or even the Thoth Tarot. So you get something like the Goetia Tarot, which is meant to be specifically a character-focused deck. And I don't know that any type of categorization of decks actually exists, right? This is just based on my own research and, you know, the years I've put into reviewing decks. So there are some decks, like the Goetia Tarot and like the Tarot of Hidden Knowledge, which are both character-focused decks, which means this deck is solely based on the characters on the deck. So this is the 7 of Wands. This is Duke Eligos, and he does fucking jack shit to do with the 7 of Wands, right? You guys know the 7 of Wands is a blah 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 blah. Here's the image, right? It's not supposed to fall in line with the deck. I'm sorry. It's not supposed to fall in line with any system of reading. It's not, because this is solely a character-based deck. So every single card of this deck will have another character on it. I feel like this deck is supposed to be meant for something like spirit confirmation or things like that. It's such a hard deck. Such a hard deck to pinpoint how to use it, solely because it is a character-based deck. Doesn't matter if you're looking at your minors or your majors, they all have a character on them except for the aces. Can I get an ace, please? Thank you. Very beautiful, fucking amazing deck. I love this deck. I love working with it. I love reading with it. Again, I've never used it for another person other than myself because we have such a strong bond. It is so intuitive, and I just wish it was not a character-based deck. But anyways, here's your ace. Ace of Cups. Yeah, Ace of Cups. This is what your aces look like. Can I get another ace, please? Your aces are just the image of the suit itself, which is fine. Most things are like that. No more aces for me, huh? That's cool. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Ace of Pentacles. They all look like that. It's like just one thing. I mean, it's fucking stunning imagery right here. Oh, Ace of Wands. Thank you. You're a very nice deck. But you know, they are all character focused. Other than your aces, any other pip cards are still character focused. This is meant to highlight the demons of the lower Goetia, I think. I don't fucking know, to be honest. I'm not a demonologer. I'm barely starting to learn about demons in my practice. I'm just barely starting to accept demons. So, you know, that's a whole thing. That's why I personally got this deck, was to come to terms with the existence of the infernal divine and to get over it. Quite frankly, you guys know, if you've been here a long time, I was very heavily Catholic Christian raised. So I had to get over this. Like, I had to get over my fear of even handling this deck. Do you know what I mean? So that's why I got it. It was for me to come to terms with everything all encompassing in the spirit realm, not just the spirits I personally work with, not just the spirits that I like, you know what I mean? I have to come to terms with where there is light, there is also dark. You know, you have to learn both sides of the coin to be able to work adequately in your craft. You can't be scared of shit in your craft, because it will haunt you. It will come back up to bite you in the ass if you have any teeny tiny little fears hiding around witchcraft and you're trying to dabble in the craft. You can't have fears hiding in your closet. You can't. So that's why I got this deck. I did not get this deck because I want to read with it. I did not get this deck because I'm trying to commune with demons. I got this deck solely to fucking get over the existence of the infernal divine and realize it's not so scary, right? They're just characters. Just like any other characters, just like the angels, just like the deities, just like the ancestors. They're all characters, right? It's as real as you make it. It's as scary as you make it. So if you get over it, it's not so scary. However, to answer your question, I would never recommend this deck to a beginner. I would never recommend this deck to a beginner because it does not fall in line with any tarot reading system. It does not fall in line with the Rider-Waite-Smith, with the Marcy, with the Thoth, with Lenormand, regular playing cards, fucking, what's that gypsy deck? Like, none of them. It doesn't work with any of them. It's not meant to follow a template. It is meant to be character-based. So if you saw my review on the Tarot of Hidden Knowledge, I said the same thing. It's not like a tarot deck. It's meant to be read like an oracle deck, and it is a character-based deck. So if you work with the Infernal Divine, this is a great deck for you. If you are a fan of super dark imagery, this is a great deck for you. This is an incredible deck. And like I said, it's very intuitive. It's very smart. Whenever I am trying to call out a specific card, it fucking comes out every time. It's so good. And the most intriguing part about this deck is what somebody else had said in their review. It was like an Amazon review or some shit. I don't remember, to be honest. But somebody else had said when they first got the deck, it was so dark to them they couldn't see anything in the card, and the more they worked with it, the more they were able to draw from the light of the card and illuminate the whole card with their intuition and finally get to see the whole picture. And this is something that I do use in my astral travels, because I'm trying to not only, go up, sometimes I want to go down. I want to see where I can go in my astral travels. And this is very helpful because it gives you an image, it gives you an energy to hold on to. It gives you a fucking background, a layout, something, anything to use, right? So again, depends what you're using this deck for, but to be quite honest, I don't think it's a tarot deck. I don't think it's meant to be a tarot deck. I think it was the original creator's way of like giving an ode to the Infernal Divine. That's my opinion on what this deck is, because again, I just did that review on the Tarot of Hidden Knowledge. Again, it's supposed to be a deck like honoring the Infernal Divine, encompassing the energy of each of those demons. So all right, Big Daddy YouTube, I almost said Big Daddy TikTok. Big Daddy YouTube, please look away for a second because I'm going to show Lilith's card and there's some boobies in it. It's okay. Shh. So you can take this as the Lover's card, right? You can, in my mind, this is the Lover's card because hello, whoa, wah, 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 right? But as a brand new beginner, if this is your first idea of the Lover's card, you're gonna be real lost. Because, I mean, okay, jokingly, this is nice. I like this card. And the reason that I like this card is because the original image of the lovers is Adam and Eve in the garden. They each are next to a tree and there's an angel between them, right? It's very cute. It's very biblical. It's very on the nose. This is the exact bastardization of that image, and I fucking love it because you got Lilith up here, Queen Lilith, on her throne instead of the, you know, fucking cute little angel you got there in the image, right? And you have the two figures down here. I don't know if you can even see those because it's so dark, but you got the female and the male here, and they're both like looking up to Queen Lilith, and you know, she's got like her foot on this dude, and the lady's touching the key that she's holding, right? It's incredible. If I could blow this picture up as a poster, I would. It's just my favorite image in this deck. But anyways, if you were to see this as your first Lover's card, you might get an idea of the Lover's card, to be quite honest. You might. However, the devil, on the nose again, the devil is Lucifer. So this card is more of a, I was gonna say montage, like an honoring, a veneration of Lord Lucifer, right? It's just him, like above his throne, floating in the air with the sun behind him, right? Again, has nothing to do with the actual devil card if we are to look at the devil card as far as the Rider-Waite-Smith, the Marcy, or the Thoth, right? That's the reason that any tarot reader will tell you a certain tarot deck is not beginner friendly. So, you know, as much as I want to harp on this, that's the only reason any tarot deck is ever not beginner friendly, is because it does not fall in line with a specific template. Or it does, and the imagery itself is very complicated and meant to be read more intuitively. So something which is going to be really cutesy, really artsy, any type of I hate these Minerva Siegel decks, okay? I'm sorry. I know a lot of you love them because it's just like incorporating childhood into tarot, and it's cute and it's great and it's fun and it's quirky. I really dislike them because of the name that they give to tarot. I understand their place in society, okay? If you haven't heard of Minerva Siegel, she does pop culture tarot decks. So things like Disney villains, Alice in Wonderland. I'm pretty sure Minerva Siegel is also the person who did like the Labyrinth deck, the Supernatural deck, the Star Trek deck, right? All of those pop culture decks. I see them all the time all over Amazon. Minerva Siegel's constantly just spitting these things out like every other day. And they're cute and they sell and they're great and they're super fantastic for collectors. But they are not beginner friendly. If you look at the Nightmare Before Christmas Tarot, I had a friend who really wanted that deck, so I bought it, I pre-ordered it, and I gave it to them, you know, for fucking Christmas, whatever it was when it came out, and they opened it and they were like, I hate it, dude, it sucks, it was not anywhere readable, and it was this person's, like, one of their early decks, right? So when this person said it was not readable to me, I went and looked at walkthroughs of the deck and I was like, damn, you're right. That's not readable for a beginner. It's readable for someone who's got a couple years of tarot knowledge under their belt and all they're going to do is just read with it as another deck, right? I could personally pick up any fucking tarot deck and read with it. Doesn't mean I'm going to like the imagery. Doesn't mean I'm going to be bonded to it. But something as far as like a pop culture pip kind of deck, not everybody likes them because, again, they are not beginner friendly, which means the imagery is not on par with whatever template it's trying to follow. So something which I recommend to beginners all the time, the top decks I always recommend to beginners. I made a video about it at some point as well. My top tarot decks, which I always recommend to beginners, is going to be the Modern Witch Tarot and the Llewellyn's Tarot, because those are as close to the Rider-Waite-Smith imagery as you can get without being Rider-Waite-Smith imagery. A lot of people do not like the Rider-Waite-Smith imagery because it is flat, it is archaic, the colors don't resonate with them, the imagery doesn't resonate with them. It looks like something you'd see in like a church history book or something. Like, I get it, I understand it. But the thing is, sometimes we have to look at archaic tarot decks, such as the Rider-Waite-Smith or the Marcy, to start a foundational understanding of the history of tarot itself. In order to learn tarot and learn how to build on your tarot knowledge, you have to have a good foundation. Anybody's going to say that to you about anything you do, about cooking, about knitting, about gardening. When you're doing these things, you have to learn the basics. You have to understand, if you want to knit, which needles you need. You have to understand which yarn is going to fray and which yarn isn't, which yarn is going to be easier to work with, which yarn is going to be more cost effective to use if you're just using it for practice. You have to understand how to start your fucking magic knot or whatever it is, right? You have to always start with the basics, right? Remember Karate Kid, Miyagi, wax on, wax off? He was teaching him all of that so that he could put it into practice later. That's why everyone says beginner-friendly tarot decks. Because if you are a brand new beginner and you do not start with a Rider-Waite-Smith tarot deck, you will have to backtrack and get a Rider-Waite-Smith tarot deck. So if you're still here in this far of this video, I figure you are a beginner looking for some answers. So what I'm going to tell you is my own personal experience, okay? If you are brand new to my channel, this is like the first video you've ever seen of me, you don't know me, you don't know my face, that's fine. I've told this story time and time again, that I did not start with a Rider-Waite-Smith tarot deck. I was gifted the Vanessa tarot, and my friend said, I didn't have any luck with this, I didn't vibe with it, maybe you'll have some luck with it. And thus began my whole journey into tarot, right? I had this tarot deck, I had no fucking idea what tarot was. I needed to learn what tarot was really fast. My friend Morgan also gave me a book with it. However, the book they gave me was very hard to understand and I was super fucking lost. So I tried dabbling around with this tarot deck as best as I could with what little knowledge I had. I bought a couple beginner Rider-Waite-Smith type of tarot books to try to start reading on them. I started watching YouTube videos, I started researching, I started looking into reviews and things like that. And the more that I started to learn about it, the more I realized I need a Rider-Waite-Smith. I fucked up. This should not have been my first deck. It was important because it did open the doorway for me to want to learn tarot. So I want to make that very clear. If you see a deck like this that you really, really love and you just cannot be without it, and you have the sneaking suspicion that this is going to sell out in the next 6 months and you're never going to see it again, get it. All right, you're not going to regret getting a deck you really want, because either which way, you're still going to learn tarot. You get this deck and it sits on your shelf for 3 years while you're learning the Rider-Waite-Smith, that's fine. You still have this deck. You're still going to love this deck 3 years after you get it, and you're going to be all the wiser when you're using it. But if you were to get this and try solely to learn tarot based off of this tarot deck and the book it came with, you're gonna be real fucking lost, dude. Because the book that this came with was specifically talking about the demons of the lower Goetia, whatever, and nothing else. There was no card meanings, there was literally nothing in this book, and it was just talking about the demons in 4 different languages. So this is why, as a reviewer, I got a stick up my butt about people who do not make beginner-friendly tarot books with their decks. However, if it's something like this is very niche. Clearly, this is not a beginner-friendly tarot deck. They have absolutely no reason to put a beginner-friendly tarot book with it. I understand that. It would make zero fucking sense to make a beginner-friendly book with an intermediate kind of tarot deck. It doesn't make any sense. So, to answer your question, person, whoever it was, you can get this deck, right? You can do whatever the fuck your heart desires. You can get whatever deck you like. You can just build a little collection while you're learning tarot. That's fine. I did the same thing. I started getting decks that I really wanted so that I had different decks to work with while I was learning the tarot. Yes, I did get a Rider-Waite-Smith tarot deck. My first one was the Radiant Wise Tarot in a tin. It was the first Rider-Waite-Smith deck that I got because I liked that it had very vibrant colors, had the names on all of the cards, and it had, you know, it was smaller, it was in a tin, right? So that's why I started with that one specifically. That was my first introduction to a Rider-Waite-Smith deck. I did not end up reading that little shitty pamphlet that came with it. Because I had bought so many books, because I was watching so much tarot content, I didn't feel like I needed that book. Never once in my life have I cracked open a book that came out of a Rider-Waite-Smith deck. I'm sorry, US Game Systems, those books are trash. Probably make them a little bit better, a little bit more appealing. Maybe people won't be throwing them in the trash. I don't know what to tell you. But at the end of the day, listen to Auntie Star, okay? At the end of the day, buy whatever the fuck you want. But you are still going to need to create your base tarot foundation. So there are like classes and shit which you can actually take in this day and age, which will help you build your base foundational tarot knowledge. I have done a video on the Sisters Enchanted class, whatever. I think it would be cute for a beginner to take that class. It's very helpful. They have a lot of like worksheets and stuff. It was very cute. Didn't really do much for me because I'm a couple years into my tarot journey, but I took it to review it for you guys. So if you are ever interested in learning something like that, check out, there's a video on my channel reviewing the Sisters Enchanted class. I have also been taking a class from Center of Excellence. There is a beginner tarot course and an advanced tarot course. I have been interchangeably doing both. Still haven't finished either of them, but they do exist. I think they are very helpful if you are a book learning kind of person, because there's a whole lot of reading, which is why I have not finished them yet. I make my web browser read it for me, and then I take the tests. But I think that one's way more helpful for book readers. If you're more of a hands-on kind of person, the Sisters Enchanted course will do great for you. Tons of worksheets, tons of printable stuff, lots of journaling, things like that. Very hands-on, very helpful. There are also tons and tons and tons of free resources which you guys can use as beginners, which I have talked about again, time and time again on my channel. The Biddy Tarot website, free, always has been, probably always will be. Biddy Tarot makes that cheap little $10 deck. The book itself is killer. I still use that book all the damn time because for some reason, there's like little meanings in there that I would have never thought to put on some of these decks, or some of these cards, excuse me. So the Biddy Tarot website is always useful. There are also Biddy Tarot tools. They have like their own workbook, their own journal, all that shit, right? If you are a Biddy Tarot person, all of that is available to you. There is also the Labyrinthos app. Both the Labyrinthos app and the Labyrinthos website, they are both the same. The app is just a little bit more hands-on. You can play with the app. You can do like flashcards and pick the cards and, you know, have all of these little games and things like that. It's a lot more helpful. That's how I personally learned tarot, was through the Labyrinthos app, because it was more engaging. It was a lot more fun to do. I wanted to do it. I wanted to win. I wanted to get to the end. I wanted to be the best. So things like that are more helpful for me specifically. But again, the Labyrinthos app and the Labyrinthos website are both free. And that's what I was using to look up my card meanings. I preferred the Labyrinthos website and their meanings and their layout, as far as, you know, regular things go, over the Biddy Tarot website. So I used to use Labyrinthos way more than Biddy Tarot, but I did use to reference the Biddy Tarot for cross meanings. I feel like there's just way too much on the Biddy Tarot website. When you look up a specific card, there's just like way too fucking much. Like the Labyrinthos website just kind of waters it down to the important parts, and then, you know, with the app, you can play around with it. You can also order the decks that are on the app. So it's very helpful. It's very helpful for beginners. So I don't want you guys to think, in order to learn tarot, you have to buy this deck and this book and do this and XYZ. There is no path, okay? There's not. There's fucking not. So get whichever deck calls to you. Get whichever book calls to you. Whatever. I don't care. Make your own deck if you want to. I don't fucking care. The thing is, you got to get your foot in the door somehow. So if this deck calls to you to start learning tarot, there's a reason that this deck calls to you to start learning tarot. So if you want to get it, dude. It's not going to hurt you to get it. But it is going to make you curious about tarot. It's going to make you want to learn more. It's going to make you go, what am I missing with this deck now? What do I have to learn that I don't know, that I didn't get from this deck, right? And it's going to cause you to go look at the Modern Witch, to go look at the Llewellyns, to go maybe check out all of these 7,000 different renditions of the Rider-Waite-Smith and see which one calls to you. I will say, if you get a Rider-Waite-Smith deck, please try and get one of the actual older ones that says Rider Tarot that is published by US Game Systems. Please don't get one of the knockoff Rider-Waite-Smith decks. I know that the Rider-Waite-Smith imagery is now public domain, and that's why you're going to see 10 million knockoffs of the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. And it's okay to get a Rider-Waite-Smith knockoff because it's public domain at this point. You could print your own Rider-Waite-Smith cards. But the Rider-Waite-Smith cards from US Game Systems have that little book. I know I literally just said I've never used that book. I never opened it. It's fucking trash. But if you need resources, that's the one. Okay, that comes with the deck, or should come with the deck. If you're buying the actual real US Game Systems Rider-Waite-Smith deck, it will have that little book. Again, it's a book of keywords, but if you are a beginner, the keywords are helpful. Just like the Biddy Tarot book, just like the Labyrinthos book. It's just keywords. But the more keywords you get under your belt for each card, the more you're going to have a little repertoire in your brain to be able to build on your tarot knowledge. I will say this until my dying day. You have to build a good foundation on tarot, or everything you learn will be built on an unsteady foundation and you will not have adequate knowledge. You cannot entirely read tarot off of your intuition and off of your guides. Tarot specifically is a system of 78 cards. Each have their own meaning. Each have their own set of keywords. Each have upright and reverse meanings. Each of these cards needs to be studied like a college course, like a book. You need to study this inside and out until you know it. If you are doing that while you're playing with other cards, that's fine. Just, if you are a beginner, please, 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 please start somewhere. Start somewhere. I don't give a fuck where. Me personally, I don't care where you start. I started with the Vanessa Tarot. Did it help? Nah. But it started me, right? It got me going on the tarot journey. So I used to read with my little Vanessa Tarot. There might be like 5 of you actually in this audience that remember me doing live Facebook readings with my Vanessa Tarot. That's how I started. That's what I did before I got into YouTube. I was doing readings to not only learn my tarot deck, but to learn how to read tarot, to learn how to connect with spirit, to learn how to sift through all these energies. I used to do buttloads of free readings for people in Facebook groups because I was trying to learn. So not only do you have to read all of the shit, right? You also have to put it into practice. And there's only so much practice you're going to get by reading for yourself, right? So I always recommend that to beginners. Please go jump in some Facebook tarot groups. Tell them I'm a beginner. Can I read for you? Can I offer free readings, free 1-card readings, free 3-card readings? You know, just drop your question below, things like that, because as much practice as you can get, the better. If you are in such a position where you do not have supportive family or friends, please don't try to go to your family and friends and read tarot for them if it's going to be a problem, if it's going to be a dangerous situation for you. And those of you guys who know what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying, okay? If you are not in a supportive position, please don't offer to read for people who are not supportive of this journey, okay? That's an important talk you have to have with people outside of readings, all right? But there are supportive places like Facebook Tarot groups, which will allow you to do free readings so that you can practice, so that you can get these things under your belt. And I mean, I have my own Facebook tarot group. I have offered this service for people. Nobody's really ever taken me up on it, but I do offer that you can practice readings on my page if you guys need a safe space to practice readings. Like, it's just one of those things. If you need help, there's always going to be resources. If at the very least, at the very fucking least, message me on Instagram, dude. If you need some help, if you're just damn stuck on the Hierophant card, I got you, because the Hierophant card don't make sense to me either. We'll talk it through, you know what I mean? Like, understand I'm a person, I have my own life. It's probably going to take me a couple days to get back to you, but if I'm really genuinely the only person on the entire fucking internet that you can talk to, I'm trying to help you out. I'm trying to help out beginners in every which way that I can, and that's why I've got a whole playlist called Tarot for Beginners, because I make informational videos like these every once in a while so that beginners can stumble upon them and learn some shit about tarot if they have no other resources for learning tarot, right? If I'm really genuinely the first thing you've ever seen about tarot, hi, welcome, my name is Star and I cuss a lot, but like, I'm here and I got you, you know what I mean? So I hope that answered your question to the person who asked it. I really didn't have to go on a 30-minute rant. I could have just been like, it's not Rider-Waite-Smith, there's your answer. But like, I wanted to genuinely answer this question because for realsies, it's important. It's important, and I hear multiple beginners across the damn board. You guys have no idea how many Facebook groups I've been in. I hear it all the time. Why can't I start with a deck I want? Why do I have to start with the Rider-Waite-Smith? You don't. There's no rule book, honey. As with anything in divination, do what suits you. Just know that if you are on the tarot journey at some point in time, it will be beneficial for you to learn the Rider-Waite-Smith tarot. To learn it inside and out, to learn the imagery, to learn the books, to learn, you know, what Arthur Edward... Wait, was that his name? Arthur Edward? That don't sound right. I think that's his name, though. I remember A.E. Waite, so I hope that's his fucking name. Anyways, it will be helpful for you to understand why Waite and Smith put the deck together that they did. It will be helpful for you to know all of the hidden little images in those cards. It will be helpful for you to understand why the Marcy Tarot uses just suits for the pips as opposed to the images, and why the Rider-Waite-Smith made images for the minors, why the Thoth Tarot is such a different style of reading, why it's such a different system of reading, why, what's his name? Oh my gosh, I totally spaced that dude's name. Why the creator of the Thoth Tarot decided to go with such a different style of reading in the time when the Rider-Waite-Smith was the big deck, right? The big one. So all of these things are important for your foundational knowledge of tarot. But I personally feel like however which way you jump into tarot, you're gonna stumble on all this shit eventually. You will. There is no way around it. If you start looking up tarot videos on your YouTube, the algorithm will give you more tarot videos. Same thing with TikTok. No matter what you look up, they will give you more, and you will inadvertently be learning these things whether you want to or not. You're gonna run over a million fucking tarot videos that say, learn the Rider-Waite-Smith tarot in under 1 hour, and it's literally just gonna be a video of flashes of cards with keywords. And that's fine, because everybody needs that at some point, you know what I mean? Everybody needs the Rider-Waite-Smith foundation. And it's okay if you don't believe me. It's okay if you are a stubborn kid and you're like, you know what? Fuck what you gotta say, old lady. I'm gonna do it my way. That's fine. Either which way, get started, kid. Jump into it. And then maybe a year or 3 years or 5 years from now, you'll see why I'm saying what I'm saying. Either which way, please get started. If you're gonna get started, get started. I don't give a fuck what deck you get started with. I don't give a fuck if you ever read a book in your life. If you're gonna get started, because the only way to get started is to get started. That's it. You gotta take the first step, dude. If you just buy a tarot deck, never read the tarot book, sit there and flip through the images, yes, you can connect with the tarot deck still. Yes, you can put your own intuitive messages on the images and read the deck intuitively without ever reading the book, because I sure as shit did. Doesn't mean the meanings that I was putting on those cards were correct. It doesn't mean that those meanings were in line with the actual meanings of the cards. But again, Divination is open to interpretation. It always has been, it always will be. That's the magic of divination. Whether you're using cards or stones or shells or bones or sticks or fucking water or sand, it doesn't matter what you're using for divination. It is open to interpretation because you are the person reading it, and the message that comes through is supposed to be meant for you. So do whatever you want, however you want. I'm tired of this argument, but I will always have the same stance that I do now, that every single beginner eventually will have to learn the Rider-Waite-Smith Tarot, will eventually have to start building a foundation on which to add to, okay? You want to buy this deck? Go buy this deck. I don't make any profit off of this deck at all. I don't have any cut in it. I'm not advertising it to you guys. I'm using it as an example, just something to hold while I'm talking. Ace of Cups again. So I really hope that like this helped somebody. Whenever I do these kinds of videos, I just feel like I'm yelling at the camera for fucking 30 minutes and I feel bad. But like, I hope that something I said makes sense. I hope that something I said resonated, and I hope that I could be cool Auntie Star that helps you out with your tarot journey, you know what I mean? So I really hope, if you made it to the end, please give me a big old thumbs up. You know, that helps me out so very much. Also, you know, my link tree's in the description if you guys want to go find me on socials. You can always do that. Follow me on TikTok. You know what it is. I be over there every day. I'm more of a person over there. You know, if you want to go see what I be doing every day, that's probably the best place to do it. But to be quite honest, my friends, this is a video you're probably going to see me remake 500 times in the lifespan of my channel, because this is always a question that is always going to come up, and it's always a question I'm always going to address because it's so important. And I really hope that those of you guys who are, you know, years into your practice can also chime in down below in the comments for the young beginners who may be reading through the comments of this video while I'm talking. You know what I mean? I know that this video is probably not going to pop off like none of my videos do, but like a year or two from now, it's probably going to have 1,000 views. And I would really love for something like this to help out beginners, like as much as humanly possible. So please, 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 if you guys have any recommendations for decks or books or any of that, free resources, things like that, please, please, please put them in the comments for the beginners. Please don't leave comments for me on this video. I mean, I'll read them. I read all of them. But you know what I mean? Like, help out your fellow tarot readers down there, because that's what it's all about. I'm just trying to create a community for you guys to feel safe talking about these things, asking questions and whatnot. So to the person who left that comment on my video, I really hope you don't think that I ignored you for however many months. I didn't. I promise this has been in my noggin, just mulling around the old cabeza, trying to figure out how to make a video out of this because your girl ain't got no energy. But I hope that it helped somebody. I hope that somebody got some substance out of this. If anything, you got your eyes on, you know, Queen Lilith. That's always a bonus, right? Oof. Anyways, I will link below where you can get this deck, and I will link below the Goetia Tarot review if you want to watch it, just because that's the deck that I have in this video. It's a little hard to find, like, authentically. There is the Los Scarabeo site, which you can order it from. It's a little bit more difficult to do so, because I do believe it's in, like, euros or some shit. You can get it from Amazon, but it does take a lot of scouting. There's quite a few fakes on Amazon of this deck, of course, like there are for everything. I did get mine on Amazon, but it took me a very long time to find the actual authentic one, the actual authentic link. I did lots of review watching and stuff to see what the actual one looks like. This deck was a Kickstarter, actually. The original Kickstarter version was beautiful, stunning. They were giant, huge cards with like holographic overlay. Beautiful, stunning. I wish I could have gotten my hands on one of those. Maybe one day in the future I will find one that's not $600. But like, it's a killer deck. It's just not a deck to read with, like, actually, genuinely. So that's what I got for you guys today. I hope that wherever you are when this video reaches you, my friends, you have a beautiful, wonderful day. Thank you so much for staying with me all the way to the end. I really appreciate it so much, and I cannot wait to see you in the next one. Blessed be.